Chapter 16. Tan really didn't want to think about the process of riding the bicycle through the stone road. When they arrived at the destination that Celestine mentioned, Tan quickly jumped off the bicycle. He was so dizzy that he almost fell to the ground. This was a small two-story building surrounded by private residential areas. However, this area was also within the demolition area. Many of the houses were empty and the word, demolition, was written on the wall. Tall advertising signs were hung around the building. As the high-tech zone expanded, this area was bound to be demolished. Within 10 years, this area would gradually be covered by new high-tech enterprises. Celestine opened the door and pushed the bicycle into the house. He rummaged through the fridge and took out a handful of beef cubes. He sat on the sofa and watched TV while eating, ignoring Tan. Tan looked around and jumped onto the coffee table. She took the beef cubes from Wei Ling's side and tore open the wrapping paper to eat. On the way here, Celestine said that he would ride directly to Tsinghua University and send Tan back. Therefore, Tan wasn't in a hurry to leave. He couldn't leave even if he wanted to. 10 minutes later, the door rang. A man in a police uniform came in. Seeing Tan, the man said to Celestine in surprise, "Where did you pick up this cat? I don't want to raise it. You know, I'd rather raise a dog than a cat." "You don't need to raise it. It belongs to someone else. I'll send it back tomorrow." Celestine opened a beef cube and threw it into his mouth. He took out the glass jar and handed it to the man. The man didn't say much. He put on gloves and took the glass jar to the bathroom. After a while he came out with a small bag. The bag was transparent and the things inside could be seen. Jade, diamond, gold ring. Although it was only a small bag, it was worth a lot. "Did you see the person?" the man asked. Celestine shook his head and pointed at Tan. "This cat found it. Tisk Bolsh *T. The man obviously didn't believe him. He turned around and said, "Tell me, what else did you find? I didn't hear you clearly on the phone. You should change your pitches. Otherwise, you won't be able to contact anyone once you leave the central district." Celestine explained the situation of the dilapidated tile-roofed house. "I deliberately sprinkled some medicine around it to prevent some livestock from getting close, but it won't let the weeds die. The residents nearby had been busy moving away recently, so they didn't even look at the rundown houses overgrown with weeds. The bag was hidden very well and the surrounding traces were cleaned up quite well. They were very careful. It's not the first time that person has done something like this. Of course it's not the first time. That person has taken several lives, so he's very familiar with this kind of thing. Only you can find it. If it were my subordinates, they wouldn't be able to find anything even if they circled that broken tile-roofed house for an entire day." The man in uniform flicked the bag in his hand. After thinking for a moment, he handed a folder behind him to Celestine. "Mail." Celestine looked at the information in his hand and frowned. This was different from what he had guessed. He had been suspecting the only woman among the suspects. The results of the newly bought equipment in the bureau. How can it be fake? The man in uniform patted Celestine's shoulder. "Hey brother, thank you for helping me find these evidence. I've already sent people to guard that place. If there's any movement, I'll inform you. I say, you've been out of the military for 3 years and your injuries have healed. Hurry up and find something to do. Don't wander around all day. You can enter the police station or start a company. It's not like you don't have any connections or capital." Celestine lit a cigarette, raised his arm behind his head and leaned back on the sofa. "Lazy. Bullshit." The man in uniform picked up the folder and slapped it. He was so angry that he stopped talking about this topic. He turned to look at Tan, who was using his furry paws to remove the wrapping paper of the beef cubes. "This cat is quite smart, but compared to Master's lynx..." The man in uniform stopped talking halfway. "Why would I mention it? Why would you mention it?" The two almost spoke at the same time. When they thought of the lynx's gaze, which was exactly the same as their master's, the two of them panicked. This was also the reason why Celestine wasn't too surprised to see Tan's various actions. Celestine rubbed the goosebumps on his arm and kicked the man in uniform. "Brother, you should go back to work. These cases are enough for you to work on." "That's true." The man in uniform put away the things. His face looked serious, but his words were full of pride. "If I don't solve these cases, I won't be able to get promoted. Narcissism is an illness. It needs to be treated. Didn't you read the newspaper? Narcissistic people can be leaders. Napoleon, Roosevelt, Stalin, Edison, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, and Hitler all have the same psychological trait of narcissism. The man in uniform whistled as he left. Before he left, he added, "Don't return my daughter's bicycle. Buy a new one as compensation. It's her birthday soon. You know, the kind that can be folded." Although Xing Tan had been eating the beef, his ears had been listening to the conversation between the two. It seemed that the two people's identities weren't simple. They even came from the same master. After the man in uniform left, Celestine made a bowl of instant noodles, grabbed a handful of beef and put it on the coffee table. He said to Xing Tan, "I'm going to sleep. If you're hungry, eat the beef. I don't have anything else for you. Also, it's best if you don't go out. This place isn't like where you were before. Do you know why there aren't any cats or dogs around? They were all caught by the construction workers to stew. There are many people who want to eat, dragon and tiger fight. With your skills you can only bully a small dog." Xing Tan. After staying in this dangerous area for a night, Celestine packed a bag of clothes the next day and rode his bicycle to Tsinghua University. Xing Tan once again squatted on the basket of the Pink Lady bicycle. Fortunately, as they neared the city, the roads were relatively flat. Other than the uncomfortable wind, everything else was fine except for the noise of some people. From the start of the journey to the street where Tsinghua University was located, Celestine criticized Xing Tan for all kinds of things. Poor jumping ability, slow reaction, degraded hearing like a pig. You don't even know when someone is walking next to you. Xing Tan wanted to refute, but unfortunately he didn't have the ability to do so. He could only make a strange cat's meow. Therefore, on the way, pedestrians saw a man on a woman's bicycle talking non-stop. When he said a few words, the cat in the basket would meow. The man and the cat seemed to be quarreling. It took at least 2 hours to ride the bicycle from the new technology development zone to Tsinghua University. Xing Tan saw that Celestine didn't look tired. Celestine rented a house near Tsinghua University. He had already bought a house not far from Tsinghua University, but it was renovating recently. He wouldn't be moving in for at least half a year. Therefore he found a place and paid the rent for half a year. The mother and daughter that Xing Tan saw on the lawn last time were the wife and child of Celestine's comrade. Unfortunately, that comrade died in a mission. Celestine had been taking care of him. After he retired from the army, he often came to see the mother and daughter. The house that Celestine rented was not far from the residential compound of the owner's family. It was only a 5-minute walk from the East Gate. Many students rented houses there. When Celestine arrived at the rented house, he let Xing Tan get out of the car. "You can go back by yourself. If you have free time, you should practice your skills. As a cat that likes to wander around, if you don't have some skills, you will be fought with sooner or later. I will go running in the school in the morning around 6 or 7 o'clock. If you want to run, you can join me." After that, Celestine locked the car and went upstairs. He didn't care if the cat would be caught if he left it there. Celestine felt that if the cat was caught so easily, it deserved it. It would save him the trouble of training it. Xing Tan was familiar with the surroundings. He ignored the calls of the students and walked around them to the East Gate. "The cat is so cold." "Yeah, it's not like the cat from 2 days ago. It even rolled around." "Are all black cats like that?" "No, my aunt's cat is also a black cat. It likes to be spoiled, not like this one." Xing Tan listened to the discussion of the female students behind him. He pulled his ears. He was in a bad mood. Rolling around. Spoiled? *CK them. He had to admit that when Xing Tan climbed over the wall of the East Gate, his heart suddenly calmed down a lot. Maybe this was called a sense of belonging? Before Xing Tan finished his thoughts, a dog barked, which made Xing Tan's calm heart turn gloomy. Xing Tan recognized this dog barking. It had been a month since he heard it. The compound had been relatively peaceful for a month. Xing Tan looked sideways. A dog was running towards him with a bottle of mineral water in its mouth. Its owner was chasing after it. This dog was called Sahara. It had nothing to do with the famous desert. The name came from its bloodline. It was said that this guy had 3 bloodlines: Samoyed, Husky and Labrador. Sahara's face had the serious expression of a husky, but it also had the upturned mouth of a Samoyed. The combination of these two looked wretched. It inherited the cleverness of a Labrador, but this cleverness was not always on point. For example, now, Sahara was running around with a bottle of mineral water that its owner had just bought. Probably liked being chased. Whoosh! The plastic bottle of mineral water was bitten by Sahara's fangs. The water inside sprayed out due to the water pressure. It sprayed out when Sahara ran past Xingtan. Xingtan did not have time to dodge and was hit. Could it be that his reaction was really bad? The culprit had run away with the leaking bottle. Xingtan shook the water off his body. Before he could sigh, he heard the sound of wings flapping. On the wall of the compound behind him, a blue figure landed. Yesterday I passed by your door. You were splashing water with a bucket. You splashed it on my shoes. Pedestrians on the road, laugh, laugh. Xingtan,